First up, the Doctor Who Christmas special was recently on, and my review of that is, I didn't watch it, and I'm not going to watch it, and you can't make me. I mean, I suppose I'd watch it for enough money, but otherwise I'm just not subjecting myself to that, because the last time I watched Doctor Who, I got this.
We won the game! You get a prize, honey! Yeah!
And this.
Afraid to look ugliness in the face? Well, here! Look at it! It's ugly, isn't it? Look at it! Look at it! Look at it! I want all of you to look at it!
So I'm not watching Doctor Who, instead I watched another movie for the first time in addition to the new release Kraven the Hunter, and it's from all the way back in 1996. I watched Vampirella, a film that's rated low on IMDb than Madam Web is. It's by no means what I'd call a good film, but parts of it brought me so much joy, because from the very first time the audience gets to see Vampirella in her comic book accurate costume, I started laughing.
Trax. Who are you? An avenging angel.
And I laughed, I think, pretty much every time Vampirella showed up in it. It's just so utterly horrible. It looks more like a Halloween costume advertised on Temu, or spicy clothing from Ann Summers than it does genuine superhero garb. In truth, I'd started laughing at this film during the prologue, which takes place in outer space on a planet entirely populated by vampires and called Draculon. It's just so unashamedly lame, but to be fair, this isn't all the film's fault. Draculon and that costume are coming right from the source material, and this is a movie that nobody cares about to the extent that it's just up for free on YouTube. It's another one of them, like the insane clown movie Death Racers, or the film called Lord of the Elves or Age of the Hobbits, despite containing neither elves or hobbits, and this opening may look promising to you. There's clearly been money spent on special effects. Sadly, I think they ran out of money maybe 10 minutes into the film, resulting in the nerve centre of the bad guys' operation and the final battle for the entire fate of Earth taking place in what appears to be an abandoned Mexican restaurant called Hondo's Cantina. But the film opens up on Draculon. It has a weird cast, including Talisa Soto, who was a Bond girl. She was in Licence to Kill. Then this film and Mortal Kombat 2 seem to have just brought ruination to her career. It has the actor Angus Scrimm in it. Well, kind of. You maybe know him from the horror series Phantasm. No? Anybody remember Phantasm? Anybody at all, or is it just me? He played the tall man in it. He's advertised as being in this film, and is then in it for about a minute as the leader of the people of Draculon. Maybe most worryingly, the film stars the English musician and lead singer of the band The Who, Roger Daltrey, as Vlad, the film's chief antagonist, and enormous ham. I think I prefer him as a singer. I quite like The Who's song Eminence Front. Certainly a lot more than I enjoyed this movie. What The Who song are you guys going to say you like? Probably either My Generation or Won't Get Fooled Again. While writing this, I found a great story about The Who and their former drummer Keith Moon, who was a maniac. The story cheered me up no end. The year was 1967 and The Who were in America on a show called The Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. The Who had a habit of destroying their instruments after playing music, and the show okayed them doing this, and even okayed a minor pyrotechnic display in which Keith Moon would set off gunpowder under his drum kit. Only Keith Moon was a maniac and took this as a challenge. He supposedly got someone drunk, used its claimed 10 times the legal amount of gunpowder, which allegedly caused the actress Betty Davis to faint, set the lead guitarist Pete Townshend's hair on fire, and almost got everyone arrested. Anyway, Draculon can support a planet of vampires because for some reason it has rivers of blood on the planet, and despite that, Vlad is on trial for feeding on other vampires. But his goons appear, break Vlad out from the trial, Vlad eats Angus Scrim, Vampirella's father, and flees the planet in a ship with his goons. And you may look at this scene of the ship in space and think, well, that doesn't look too bad. But that's footage supposedly taken from the movie Battle Beyond the Stars. Vampirella is out for revenge, so she goes after them, but her ship malfunctions and she ends up in stasis, trapped on Mars for 3,000 years, until a manned space mission from Earth happens upon her stasis chamber entirely by accident, and what are the chances? They decide to bring her back to Earth on the exact same week that Vlad is going to make his play for world domination. Once again, what are the chances? The whole story hinges on nested coincidences. Vampirella mind controls the astronauts and they take her to Earth, where she gets away by turning into a bad special effects bat. She then saves a computer nerd from some hoodlums, and the fight sequences in this film are pretty horrible. If you've seen Mortal Kombat 1, you will know Talisa Soto, this actress, can in fact do a passable fight sequence. It's just, in this film, they didn't bother. Because this film is directed by Jim Wynorski, who's quoted on IMDb as saying he only did this film for the money and to hang around with hot babes. Vampirella goes to the home of the computer nerd, and now she has to track down Vlad and his group, who've had 3,000 years to hide their identities. So she tells the nerd that she's looking for Vlad, Deimos and Trax.
All of them. Vlad, Deimos, Trax.
Trax? Professor Arnold Trax.
And the nerd, he just knows one of them. Trax is now a famous university professor who's still going by Trax. She then leaves, and the nerd is never in the film again. Vampirella goes to see Trax, but he won't tell her where Vlad is, so she does him in. Goes to check his house, and it just so happens there's a poster on one of the walls. A poster of Vlad, because Vlad has been going undercover as an international world-famous rock star. Vlad has spent the 3,000 years spreading vampirism, and there are a group of humans led by a Van Helsing trying to track him down. They catch another one of Vlad's goons, Deimos, and from him they get the location of Vlad. So everyone is now on their way to Las Vegas to see Roger Daltrey the vampire, cunningly undercover as an international rock star, singing songs about drinking blood. This film fully belongs stuck to some gum under a seat on the short bus. The film then meanders for about an hour to fill time. Vampirella has a tepid romance with Van Helsing. Vampires get captured when they repeatedly forget they can just turn into bats. Vampirella has a showdown with Vlad, he gets a metal rod through the chest, and then gets struck by lightning. Roll credits. And over the credits is the song Thunderstruck by AC/DC. It was a pure chef's kiss moment. This film came to you from the director, Jim Wynorski, the director of the Bear Wench Project 2 Scared Topless. I've never watched that one. He also directed Alabama Jones and The Busty Crusade, and I may have watched that one out of curiosity. He's done a lot of not safe for work parody films, low budget horror. Jim Wynorski is quite the renaissance man. He was the director of Bone Eater, and somehow that one wasn't a skin flick. I reviewed it a while back if you're interested, and it was horrible. That one was a cheap horror D-movie, and I think I saw it on the Sci-Fi Channel first, and that's where I've most been exposed to his work, heaven help me. And in Jim Wynorski's 40-year career of making films, this seems to be the one he's most embarrassed about. Not the Bear Wench Project. And if you think his action is bad, his skin flicks are far worse. I never imagined women with no clothes on could be boring, but God bless him, Jim Wynorski managed it. His most popular films on IMDb seem to be the Busty Cop series, but this is the film he was ashamed about. He's quoted as saying he should have said no to the studio because the lead was Talisa Soto, and he thinks it should have been Julie Strain. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that would have fixed this film. I've seen too many of this director's films because he's one of those directors that uses pseudonyms when he's directing. So as well as his own name, he's gone by Sam Pepperman, also Rip Masters, Jay Andrews, and Harold Blueberry. He was Salvador Ross when he directed the movie The Hills Have Thighs. Jim Wynorski is quite the Renaissance man.
If you only knew the power of one, the power of two, the power of many.